You know, as a young man, with testosterone running wild in my system, you know, I approached my grandfather and asked him about love. My grandfather looked at me and said, "Grandson, get married. If you get a good wife, you will be happy. If you get a bad one, you will be a philosopher." And my friends, here I am, 2 decades later, a philosopher, philosophizing about life. What is faith? It's in the heart. But what about what is in my head? Beliefs are in my head. But my people say, "Zichaita chete." That means faith is endurance to the end. It's resilience. It's perseverance. But what can faith be without hope? So, hope is key to faith. How many of us live in the Midlands? Many of you. I'm talking about the Midlands of Zimbabwe. Now, the Midlands of Zimbabwe evoke memories of, to me, evoke memories of a place called Gokwe. And whenever I think of Gokwe, what comes to my mind is cotton. Gokwe was once the hub of cotton growing in Zimbabwe. Every time when I was a youngster, whenever I visited relatives or friends of relatives in Gokwe, I would see bales and bales of cotton. And sometimes, early in the mornings, I would see the hard-working women of Gokwe, babies on their backs with sacks, going to the fields, to the cotton fields very early in the morning and picking cotton and singing. Hande, Davapinda, Asipasada Sianda Peza. They'll sing on and on from dawn till dusk, working. My dear friends, someone here comes from Gokwe. Faith comes from Gokwe. Yes, she does. She comes from Gokwe. And I bet you, she knows every trick about cotton picking. Her father was Chief Nemango. And I bet you as well, that's where she gets the swagger from. Now, faith is one of 11 siblings. At an early age, she found love. I'm too sexy and I know it. She got married and is mother to 5 children. In 2002, during the run-up to the elections in Zimbabwe, Faith got embroiled in the politics of Zimbabwe. She found herself working very closely to people who worked in the opposition, who wanted to see an end to autocratic rule in Zimbabwe. As such, she was victimized and harassed by militias. She escaped torture and persecution and found herself in the UK at Gatwick seeking asylum, leaving behind a 1-year-old baby. at Gatwick, she was detained and interrogated for 24 hours. She was later deployed to Gatwick and to Nottingham, where she has lived to this very day. It took Faith 8 years for her asylum to be granted. Throughout those years, every day it is only anxieties. Will I be deported today? I wonder if my children will recognize my face after so many years. Does my 1-year-old ever think of his mother? Faith, being resilient, she withstood it all. Faith, the daughter of Chief Memangwe, at one time lived near destitution. She was not allowed to work as an asylum seeker, and she had no access to higher education. At one time, Faith lived in an old police station building with no electricity, no gas. But still, as I said before, faith being faith, she persevered. Now, her experiences as a refugee and an asylum seeker pushed or propelled her to work fervently on women empowerment. Thus, the birth of African Women Empowerment Forum and FAGI project, of which RAIN Foundation and Praxis have played a pivotal role in making it successful. Back to her family. Out of the 11 siblings, 7 remain. Her father, Chief Nemangwe, passed away. Faith tosses and turns day in, day out because she did not have the opportunity to mourn her beloved father and siblings. Of her 5 children, all of them are still there, but I tell you, my friends, they are all scattered all over Southern Africa. With your love, she hopes she will be able to be reunited with her family.
If it wasn't for people, I wasn't going to survive my life in the UK. So well done, and thank you very much for looking after me during my time of struggle. About today, I also look at family reunion package, which is a new strategy, a new concept that we are launching today. I'll also look at the main objectives of this event, the aim of the event, Reunite Me with My Children campaign, and then we will come to an end whereby we want to make a difference, and we are going to elaborate more. The definition of a refugee. A refugee is a person who is outside the country of origin, who is seeking sanctuary in a different country. Therefore, that person is now called an asylum seeker or a refugee, whatever the case might be at that stage. But when you are now granted, you are called a refugee. This is because there are some political issues where you come from, and maybe you are facing persecution from within. Now, an asylum seeker is a person who is not granted, who is still seeking, and the case is still pending, and you still live under hope. This is where I lived for more than 8 years as a person in that situation. Now we come to destitution. Destitution is when a person is now without the basic necessity of life. Destitution is defined as extreme want of resources or the means of substance, completely in poverty. As we come to the UK, there is a big issue, and Britain lives under shock because of the new people who are coming into the British society. They don't understand who we are. They don't know who we are, so they don't have an answer to how they can handle all of us. So we are usually affected by poverty. Reunite me with my children concept. Today's event is about parents and children and their fundamental rights in sharing family life. The pain of a refugee mother or father is no less than of any other mother or father in the world. The needs of a refugee child are no less than that of any other child in the world. That's why they've implemented in the UK the Every Child Matters. But if you are an asylum seeker, seeking sanctuary, your child doesn't matter. They are looking at you as a problem. The main objectives of this event is to raise awareness of the plight of refugees and migrants, parents and children being forced to live apart. We are going to launch this at a national level. We are going to be running campaigns and fundraising programs across the country to highlight the issues that mothers are facing in the UK. So we are seeking to raise funds to support those women who are going through pain because of the separation with their families. I've got a story that I need to share with you today. When I lived as an asylum seeker, I shared an accommodation with a young lady. She was 8 years younger than myself. I got status first, 2008, late 2008. And she got hers 6 months down the line. When she got a status, before she moved out of the nurse accommodation, she went mentally. Now she's being kept in London under her unit of mental health, and there's nobody to see her. A child that she left when she was 3 years old, I hope now she's going to 19 years. So we are looking at highlighting these issues so that we get the community to know what we intend to do. Apart from my own problems, I've also looked at myself as having better strength, so I can be the voice, to voice for others, and to look around and see what can be done to give a solution to these families. I'm also going to highlight the government policies, some of which are already in the pipeline that will make it even harder in bringing refugee families together. The immigration is being tightened to stop us from developing and growing. This means that if I came here 10 years ago, I don't have my family with me, I don't have my own children with me. What is being created is poverty that is being generated from one generation to the other. So I won't be able to nurture my own child that I left when he was 1 year old. Now he's actually turning to 12 years old. So we are also going to be highlighting the impact of the government policies as a major barrier to integration and community cohesion theme. Reunite Me with My Children campaign is about refugee parents and children having the opportunity to meet, even at least to see each other, whether it's back in their country of origin. This means that we can actually support women who are exhausted of staying in poverty in this country, and they might decide to go home because it's now safer for them to do so, even though they are not yet granted leave to remain. Refugees and children joining their parents here in the UK or have the opportunity to the third countries when there are no other options. So we have had so many women who are returning home because they are no longer feeling very well. Some of them have gone through stress and anxieties. They cannot cope anymore, so they've decided to go back. So to take part and make a difference through this event such as this and through donations, sufficient funds will be raised and will enable numerous parents and children to have the opportunity to be together. So it's not about Faith Kakanje, it's about refugees and their families, and we are looking at integration as having a greater impact in refugee communities. So thank you very much for being here today. I hope at the end of the day we are going to invite young people to take part and to take the campaign further. Unfortunately, in our community we have a funeral, so many people, they've bought tickets and they are not able to be here. But it's the quality work that we are looking forward to deliver that matters. So thank you very much for being here.
We're now going to have dinner, and if we make our way to the kitchen area, the ushers will come and show you where that is. And we're now going to have some wonderful food, some lovely cuisine, and after that we'll continue afterwards, maybe a half an hour break. Thank you.
I speak about. The topic is quite wide, but the minutes given are very few. I think I will be here for about 3-4 minutes. And well, what this whole agenda is that there should be a law governing everything that happens, really. And this is underpinned by what the United Nations declared in 1948. That was after the Second World War. And it was really to make families stable. And the idea was that if the family is stable, then a community is stable, a country is stable, then there will be not many wars. You realize that between the First World War and the Second World War, it was just 20 years. But we have run over 60 years now without any world war. It's because many countries have tried to stabilize the family. And one way of stabilizing the family is for a family unit to be intact, for a father, for a mother, for children to be together. And that way they realize that discipline starts in the home. That's why there is this problem that says that charity begins at home. So really, the law isn't different from what the Bible says, really. The law in the UK is like the law in the European Union. And what they do to the Europeans and the British is that if you are a parent and you are resident in this UK, then you've got a right to a family. There's Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights, which says that everyone has got a right to privacy of his home, of his correspondence, and of his life. And the Article 12 actually says that everyone has got a right to marry. There's a right to marriage. So if you are married and you're a family, you've got a right to reside together. So there is that right which people must claim. So if you are here and your children are dependent, actually it's not that just children. It is even grandparents, even your parents. As long as you can prove, you can show that they are dependent on you. How do you show that? How do you prove that? You prove that by correspondence. You prove that by sending money. The receipts that you send money through Western Union, through bank transfers. If you've got that and you can show to the authorities that this is the money that I've been sending to my children, to my mother, to my grandfather, to my grandparents, and then I want them to be united with me. I want them to be here because I've got a stable home, I've got a stable job. Of course, there are limits. The country really needs people that are self-sufficient, self-sustaining. So if you rely on state benefits, obviously they don't want you to add 4 more to claim state benefit. But if you've got a very good job that earns you a substantial amount that leaves you some to spare, then really you've got a right to say, no, look, I'm feeding these people while they're outside the country. I am already sustaining them. I'm already sustaining their life. I'm maintaining their financial prosperity. So what I need now is to have that social integrity, social integration, to have them with me, residing together with me. This is my house. We can be here, 4 of us, 5 of us, 6 of us. Then you prove that. Then definitely the authorities have got to oblige. So I'm very, very proud of this project, and I really want to thank my sister Faith Kanje and Faith Namachana for spearheading and pioneering this project. Because some people really are stressful, they are distressed, as Mrs. Kanje was saying here, because this idea of living alone is not a good idea. That's why the Reverend said, it is not good for a man to live alone. It is not good for a woman to stay alone. It is not good for a child to stay alone. It is good for families to unite. Amen.
We're now going to call on our 4th speaker, who's coming to speak to us about social policy and family reunification, and that's Dr. Rhoda Manzino. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening to you all. I just want to speak about family reunification from a social policy point of view, which I think can actually sort of contradict some of the things which the previous speaker has said. I happened to have the chance to do research into family reunion, and that's how I got to know Faith. I got the chance to speak to mothers and fathers who have been separated from their children for quite a long time. And the whole issue really was about asylum seeking and the laws. And if you look in terms of social policy, the issue of family reunion is not quite, it hasn't been quite researched so far. The whole perspective from a migration point of view is that family separation is a part of the migration process. So there's quite a lot which is missing in terms of addressing the real issues when we're dealing with real people. The time I spoke to the women and men about being separated from children, it was really an eye-opener to discover that people can live for 10 years without their children. Not only that, but I dealt with people who were here for quite a long time without the rights to work, without the rights to family. And the main issue really which was raised by people was, what makes a person human? If you really want to look about yourself as human, what makes you human? It's family. It's the right to work. At some point, the right to welfare support. What does it mean really if you are allowed to live, physically remain, and yet you are denied the right to family, the right to work, and the right to welfare support? So when I was talking to the fathers and mothers, there was quite a lot about living death. People were saying, this is a living death or social death. People were talking about themselves not as living, but as only existing. So I think there's still quite a lot to be done in terms of social policy and in terms of bringing out the real issues and to show even to the Home Office that there are real people who are suffering real problems. And also if we look in terms of separation and the stress that it brings, we're not only dealing with adults here, but we are dealing with children. The time I did this research, there was quite a lot about children who were suffering at home. Children who were being abused even by carers. And to some point, there were issues about children dying at home and the parents not having the chance to go back to bury them. So I really feel like, as Faith has said, there is something that still needs to be done, particularly in terms of campaigning and in terms of backing these people who are powerless. They are already exhausted. They've gone through the process for quite a long time, 8 to 10 years. You are in a state of limbo. Sometimes you can't even communicate with your children. Sometimes even the people whom you entrusted with your children are the ones who are abusing them. And yet you are powerless and helpless to do something about that issue. So I really feel like, yes, there are laws there. But I think the whole point is about accessing those laws. I think there are quite a number of laws. We can talk even about the Convention on the Right of the Child. There are quite a lot of clauses there which sort of promote that children have to be, they have got the right to family. They've got the right to live with their parents. But what is the problem here is getting to access those rights and living them and applying them. And even in the UK, we've got very nice policies. Every child matters. But if you want to dig deeper and say, whose child? So I think the whole thing is we've got very good laws, but we really need people who can actually lead and go deeper into seeing that those laws are actually accessible, particularly when they're dealing with categories like asylum seekers and refugees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hazira. We're now going to have our fifth speaker, who's coming to speak to us on the impact around immigration and politics, and that's Paul Grant. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I know it's a bit late, but hold on. Before I start speaking about the topics which Faith gave me, which I think would take a lot longer than a few minutes, but I'll try and keep it very short, I just want to say a few words about Faith, first of all. I met her 5 years ago, and I seem to have been working voluntarily for us for the last 5 years. She's an incredibly resilient, I think persuasive is the word that comes to mind when you think of Faith. She's really an amazing woman. I think what she's been through, her trials and tribulations, and yet she's found the energy to found AWEF, African Women's Empowerment Forum, and has given so much to other people when really she could have turned and just felt sorry for herself because she's been through huge trauma, huge difficulties. And I just think that she's somebody who we should really recognise as somebody who we should be proud to know, and we should recognise her achievements. Because often people don't recognise people while they're with us. It's only when they pass on we talk about what their great achievements and things they did. And I think we should give her a round of applause and recognise her. Now, briefly to get on to the topic, I'll try not to be too controversial, Faith. I think when we talk about politics and the policies of migration, asylum and refugees, it's important, I think we've heard today, the human stories behind some of those journeys, because when you listen to the media and you hear what they talk about asylum seekers and refugees, it's a very negative sort of narrative we hear, which normally has words like bogus asylum seekers and scroungers, and the suggestion that this country is being flooded with people who are coming out in sort of take the resources that people have worked so hard to build up. So what I want to do very briefly is just give you an idea of some of the reality of what's happening in the world around refugees and asylum seekers, and also to make you think, why are refugees and asylum seekers created? How are they created? And where do they come from? And why do sometimes they come here? Because there's a saying that people are here, or we're here, because they were over there. So we need to think about the kind of impact of what people do in terms of creating migration. And we also need to recognise that the human story has been about migration from day one. People have always moved from the beginning of time. And that's a natural part of the human story. So, you know, for example, my parents came from Jamaica and came to Britain. I was born in London. I've ended up here because I met my wife up here. So I've made a small journey, which has been very easy. But migration is just a natural part of the human story. Now, if you think about refugees, where do you think is the #1 country for receiving refugees? Anyone got any idea?
It's actually South Africa. It's actually Kenya, Somalia.
It's actually Pakistan. Pakistan is the #1 country in the world for receiving refugees. Again, if you listen to the media, you think it's the Western countries who are so generous and open their doors to all these poor people who are taking all the refugees. But actually, most refugees go to the countries neighbouring them. Or in fact, normally, first of all, people are internally displaced. That is, they move within the country that they're in, and then eventually they may move to the countries surrounding. It's actually a smaller proportion of people who make very long journeys. Now, the country with the highest proportion of refugees, when you take into account their population size, is Jordan. Jordan's got nearly 9% of their population of refugees. So that would be like this country taking in 5 million refugees. Now imagine if 5 million people turned up in Britain. You wouldn't have any peace and welcome, would you? So actually it's poorer countries that are taking the majority of refugees. 80% of refugees go in the developing world. Britain's only got 0.5% of its population actually refugees. So we need to understand when we hear this narrative that most people are actually going to countries around them, and the causes of refugees, for example, the 3 biggest sources of refugees, Afghanistan, Iraq and Somalia. Now, you don't need to be a politics expert to know why Afghanistan, Iraq and Somalia are the sources of refugees. And we also don't need to be experts to know that Britain and the United States have been a major source of producing those conflicts which have caused refugees to leave. So what people do far away comes back and sometimes haunts them in ways they don't expect. Well, it's, you know, sins of the father, or sometimes just the sins that we commit to come back and rebound on us. Now, in terms of this country, you may be surprised that you can go back to the 16th century to find refugees coming into Britain. 1560 to 1575. Any of you heard of the Huguenots? Well, they were religious refugees. They were Dutch Protestants who escaping persecution in Spain and the Netherlands. And they came to this country as refugees. Now, it's interesting how different people are perceived to be good refugees and bad refugees. And different people are perceived to be welcome and not welcome. So around the same time as the Huguenots, around end of the 16th century, beginning of the 17th century, you've got Queen Elizabeth I ruling, we've got Queen Elizabeth II now, and she was getting a little bit irritated about some newcomers who had come to Britain. I'll just read you a quick quote. This is from the Cecil Papers in 1601. And Queen Elizabeth, and he says, "The Queen is discontented at the great number of nagers and blackamoors which are crept into the realm since the troubles between Her Highness and the King of Spain, and are fostered here to the annoyance of her own people." So basically you had the British were waging war with Spain, and they had some pirates like John Hawkins who were capturing Spanish ships, and on those ships were Africans who were being transported for enslavement. So they ended up in Britain. And after quite a short space of time, we had at least 10,000 Africans living in London. So probably about 5% of the population of London were African back then. And Queen Elizabeth I wasn't very happy about this. But at the same time, the Huguenots had come in, and nobody found a problem with the Huguenots. I'll leave you to work out the difference between the Huguenots and those Africans who came in. Now, if we come a little bit more up to date, I think Stanley mentioned 1948 has been an important date in terms of asylum seekers and refugees, in terms of framing the conventions in the UN. Any of you know what else happened in terms of immigration in the UK in 1948? Something quite famous? A ship, 1948, ring any bells? Windrush, Empire Windrush came in. Now again, it's very interesting to note, 3 years before the Windrush, or towards the end of the Second World War, 1945, about 250,000 Poles came into Britain as refugees. And there were huge movements of people around Europe after the end of the Second World War. Now Britain was able to accommodate 250,000 Poles without too much problem. But when 430 so-called West Indians came, there was uproar in Parliament. And there was talks about Britain is being invaded and overrun, and all these people are coming, the world's going to end, and all the rest of it. So that was the beginning of immigration, and later on, asylum and refugees being associated with race. And that was the beginning of the debate. So in 1950s and 60s, you had more waves of immigration from the Caribbean and Asia. And it's important to remember, these people were invited. You know, for example, my parents, they went to Britain, went to the Caribbean and said, "We need you, come and work here," because there was a labour shortage after the war. Lots of men had been killed and injured. But even despite the fact they were injured, you had the whole debate starting, which had a very negative tone around people coming into this country. But again, you have to remember history. Why was people coming to Britain as the motherland? They were citizens. All the people of the empire, maybe 400 million people, were actually citizens of Britain, the country that were colonised. So when those people started to come in, British politicians started to think, suppose those 400 million people all wanted to come and live in Britain. It'd be quite a packed island. So you then started to get, for the first time, immigration legislation. So it wasn't until the 1960s you actually got legislation to stop people coming into this country. And between 1962 and 1971, you had 3 pieces of legislation brought in, which were explicitly designed to stop non-white people coming into Britain. And what they eventually ended up with was a situation where you had to have both a work permit or a parent or grandparent born in Britain in order to be able to come in, even though you had a British passport as a member of the colonies. So I just wanted you to kind of think about the way in which people's journeys are described and how they're perceived. Because there was a time after the framing of the Convention on Refugees and Asylum Seekers where refugees were viewed as brave, noble people who were escaping persecution and who were, very courageous to make a very long journey. But when some of those people started to look very different from the host communities, suddenly the way in which they were perceived became very negative, and you start to get these stories in the Daily Mail and other papers about all these bogus people and they're coming to do this and coming to do that. Well, nobody would go through what Faith has been through just to live in this country. Nobody would go through that kind of sacrifice of being separated from your children just to live here. I mean, it's kind of cold and drab here. I know it's a rich country, but it doesn't feel so rich now with this recession. So we need to realise that people go through hugely traumatic journeys, and most of them don't even travel this far. They may go to a neighbouring country, which is not rich. And in terms of how we think about family separation, I think there's a few things. One, there's about 15,000 children in 2010 around the world who applied for asylum unaccompanied, so children on their own who are seeking, to get refugee status. So can you imagine what it's like for a child actually having to travel and become a refugee on their own? Two, there's huge trauma for individuals who are separated from their parents. And I know from experience lots of people who came, for example, from the Caribbean, sometimes left some of their children and sometimes brought some with them. So you had separation of siblings as well. Or they left, had children here, and then many years later they brought other children. So there can be problems in terms of reunification. There's trauma for people, and when people are reunited with their children, for example, in this country, I do educational advocacy, and I've seen the effects of children coming to a new country and adopting the values of the host society, which are sometimes different from the country they come from. And parents find it difficult to cope with children behaving in different ways. So there's lots of effects that this kind of trauma can have on people. And AWEF is a great idea, a great innovation. Networks and self-help and friendship, just this kind of fellowship is really, really important in terms of helping people to deal with that trauma. So I would just encourage you all to support AWEF, support the work Faith is doing, and to make sure that we make people know there's a welcome for them and they're not rejected, and that we don't believe the media negative hype, and that we welcome people into our hearts. And thank you all for coming out tonight, and good luck to Faith and AWEF.
We'd just like to take some time out to thank all the sponsors who've made all this possible. We've got our wave, there we are all advertised there, African Women's Empowerment Forum. We've got Faji Fashions, Nottingham City Homes, Tom Tom Housing, Women of Destiny, Gracious Women, Rain Foundation, Praxis, and Kemet Radio Nottingham. Can we all just give them a round of applause, please? Thank you. We're now going to call on our storyteller again. Bevin Magama is going to come up and do another story for us, and I hope you enjoy.
Back again. Let me try this way. Maybe it will work. Yeah. Yeah. Right. The story that I have in mind is a childhood story. When I was 7, I lived, as I said before, with my grandparents in Slobela, a rural village in the Midlands of Zimbabwe. Now, my grandparents' homestead consisted of an old red brick house with clusters of mud thatched huts around it. I shared a bed in this old red brick house with my younger brother. 4 o'clock in the morning, my grandfather kicks on my door. Vuka wena, vuka wena, vuka! Did you hear the cock crow? It's time to go plowing. I knew the plowing drill. Straight from bed, I ran all the way into the cattle pen. Ankle deep in murky, smelly cow dung, I dragged, yoked the oxen, ready to plow. Plowing commenced immediately. Children, put on, follow it. Yeah, follow, yeah, yeah. We plowed till the sun was way up in the sky. My grandfather then dismissed me to go to school. From the fields, I ran all the way into my grandmother's mud-thatched hut, where my only meal of the day, maize meal porridge with peanut butter, was bubbling in a clay pot that sat on a tripod stand on a wood fire. My grandmother called my share into a wooden bowl. And with a wooden spoon, I quickly ate my porridge. I tidied myself up, put on my khaki short and my khaki short and shirt, and I was ready to go to school. Tell you what, school was 4 miles from the homestead. I ran all the way to school, barefoot because shoes slowed me down. Arriving in school, soaked in sweat, my feet caked in mud. Right, I'm in class, sitting on the back row, where pupils who are the worst performers are bunched together. Sitting next to me is a boy called Reginald. Now, pupils on this row start kicking each other under the table and pinching each other as the lesson progresses. Reginald pulls out a coin from his pocket. He starts flicking it in the air. He catches it. He flicks it in the air. He catches it. Flicks it in the air. He catches it. I realized that Reginald has 5 cents, and 5 cents in those days was a lot of money. You could buy buns, coke with it. He flicks it in the air. He catches it. Flicks it in the air. He catches it. Flicks it in the air. He puts the coin away. As the lesson progresses, Reginald raises his hand up. Miss Paul, excuse me ma'am, Miss Paul, somebody has stolen my money. The teacher comes over to where we are. Find his money, she says. Well, we search for Reginald's money. On the desks, in the drawers, on the bench we sat on the floor, nothing. The teacher then says to us, line up, and we line up, and one by one, she tells us to search ourselves, emptying our pockets. I'm the last one on this row. I'm busy searching myself, jumping up and down. And guess what? Reginald's 5-cent coin falls from my pocket. Magama, how dare you steal his money? The teacher said, ma'am, I didn't do it. There must be an explanation. No. To the headmaster's office with me now. I am dragged to the headmaster's office. In the headmaster's office, the headmaster is a big, belly man, with head of palm mustache. He tucks them under his feet. He looks at me and says, boy, theft is the worst thing ever. If it ever happens again, I will expel you from my school. Understand, boy? But say I didn't do anything, say. Bend, boy, hands on the desk. But say, hands on the desk. I don't have to repeat myself. I bend. The headmaster pulls out a whip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get out of my office. I left the office. When I arrived home that day, my great uncle Tocho had just visited from a nearby village. Boy, you look sad. What's been happening in school? He asked. Well, uncle, I had problems in school. I said, another boy set me up. I'm going to give him one. Oh. Hold on, boy. Sit down, he said. I want to tell you a story. So, again, we sat in my grandmother's mud-thatched hut. And great uncle Tocho got up and told this story. Once upon a time, deep in the forest of the land of Kempo, Hare lived with his family. Just a stone throw away from him, on a cluster of boulders, was his neighbor, Baboon. Hare gathered food, nuts, vegetables to feed his family. Baboon watched every time he did that and came down and ate all his food. Now, this went on for days on end, which grew into weeks, months. He and his family were getting thinner and thinner, whilst Baboon was getting fatter and fatter. He got fed up. He planned a plan, schemed a scheme. One day, he went into the forest, gathered a lot of firewood, came back to his homestead, lit a fire, and on this fire, he placed a massive pot filled with water. Baboon was watching, came down to find out what was going on. Sekuru Baboon said, Sekuru Baboon, he said, I am only warming up the water so that I take a bath before I send you your food. Say, Sekuru Baboon said. Baboon looked at him and said, get out of the way. How can you take a bath before me? So Baboon jumped into the pot. This water is cold, he said, from inside that pot. And outside he said, Sekuru Baboon said, I have to put the lid on so that the water warms quicker. Hurry up and do it. So, he put the lid on top of the pot and locked it and started adding more firewood. The cold water soon became warm, then became hot. Baboon was uncomfortable. Musukuru, hey, open up. This ain't going anywhere. Open up, I want to get out, I want to get out now. And outside, he said, no, not yet. He had more firewood. Soon, the warm water became hotter and hotter, and the burning inside that pot became louder and louder and louder, and then became feebler and feebler until the only sound he could hear was the bubbling of boiling water in that pot. Still, he didn't do anything. He added more firewood and continued to listen to the bubbling inside that pot. But finally, he unlocked the lid and opened it, and curled inside was Baboon, cooked to the bone. That's where my story ends. My great uncle said, Uncle, no, wasn't he too cruel? I asked him. He said, well done, boy. Now you see, two wrongs can never make a right. Stay good and be kind. The world will reward you abundantly. Thank you all.
We're now going to call upon Reverend Valerie Howe, who's going to have an auction for us. So if you've got all your tickets, get them ready, and I hope you win.
Good evening. All right, let me ask you all to stand before we go into the auction, because I know you've been sitting down and you want to do a little bit of exercise. So those of you who know me will know I like some liveliness in the house, and we've had some beautiful dinner. Are you all full? You see, somebody's ready for exercise over there, so I'd like you just to follow me. Okay, just reach your hands up. Stretch to reach the ceiling, tiptoe. Now, I'm not a physiotherapist, I'm not a doctor, so please do not bend over and hurt your back, but exercise is very, very important, as we know, for the joints and the muscles, and just for our body generally. So, watch me first. So I'm going down to see how far I can go to my toes without hurting your back. I want you to just bend without hurting your back, and then come back up, reach up again, down again, and back up, straight back. Put your hands by your side and just squeeze in your stomach and your buttocks. And you should be able to feel the muscles tightened. Oh, we've got the children. Come on then, children. Wow, great. Okay? Can you feel that tightening in your stomach and also in your buttocks, yeah? Great. Right, just move down for me, please. Okay, right, watch me. Hands by your side, take the left hand up, and you're reaching with the right hand down as far as you can to the side of your knee, and get that stretching going on. You should be able to feel the stretching on the left of your body. And again, move down for me, please, children. Again, on the opposite side, stretch, stretch, stretch. Can you feel your muscles being stretched? Yeah? Great. Hands by your side. You like this, do you? I do as well. It's important to exercise. Mind, body, and spirit. It's very important. Okay, ready for the next part? Right, neck exercise. Gently again, so I don't want anybody pulling any strings and then they're going to be calling me saying you made me do this exercise and I've hurt my neck. Okay, down. Just close your eyes for a little bit. This is your time. Your time, me time. And then take your, watch me, your head as far as you can again. And you should touch your right shoulder with your chin. Come back to the center. Go to the left again. You should be able to feel all those muscles that have been tight from today's activities. And then once more to the right. And then to the left. And then, thank you very much, you can see. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are amazing. Now let me just hold it there because how many of you are Africans in the house? Come on now, I know there's some Africans who can dance brilliantly. I'm going to ask one or two of those Africans just to come out here. Sister Joy, you come out because I know you can dance. I want some Africa. Come on now, I want you to take me back to Africa. Come on now. Joy, just come and help me with the dancing here. And some of you down there, let me see some moves. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are gracious. You are gracious. You are gracious. You are gracious. You are amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. You are amazing. Hallelujah. All right. Amen. Amen. Right. Tonight, I've been asked just to auction some things, and let me first of all just say how much I really love this woman that has been put in my pathway, because I'm a Caribbean, I'm a British, born in England, been to the Caribbean, but also been to Africa. So I'm all three, British, African, Jamaican. Okay. This woman has been amazing in my life and has actually educated me about refugee and asylum, what an asylum seeker is, because my knowledge was very limited in that area, but I've experienced and felt with Faith the pain that she has actually gone through. So I just want to say, Faith, you're an amazing woman, you're a beautiful woman, you're a gracious woman, and you deserve all the blessings that is coming your way. And because of that, tonight, where's the children? Where I want one child, come and hold this with me. Auction time, so let's hopefully see some wallets and some purses and some handbags. Hold it, good girl. We've got a beautiful piece here. Two of the other children, can you come and get the other end for me? Oh dear, see, oh, the children. Right, turn around so the cameraman can guess. That's right, and we need the ladies and gentlemen down there to see this beautiful piece of handiwork, Faith's handiwork. And this is a tablecloth. And I'm going to start at £30 and come down. I know that we're in recession, but there's no recession in heaven. And I believe somebody out here tonight is wanting to unite Faith's family with her by putting this on their table and saying, you know something, I've supported this woman and here are her children with her. Come on now, right? Who would like to auction this or buy this at £30 for a good cause? £30. £30. Thank you. There's one person there at 30. Okay, £35. I'm sure. Come on now, I can see this is beautiful. This is going to look lovely in somebody's home. £35. It's well. Let me look at the stitching because that's how I decide whether or not I'm going to buy something. Oh yes, excellent overlock stitching. Come on now, £35 for a good cause. We're bringing Faith's family over. £35. Anybody at £35? Anybody at £35? Anybody at £35, please? Thank you. £35. We're going up now. £40. £40. Come on now, we need to see Faith's family here. £40 for this beautiful tablecloth. This will look lovely in somebody's home. Beautiful colours as well. You know, you've got your cream, your brown. Come on now. £40 have I gone to? Yeah, £40. Anybody at £40? Oh dear me. All right. Wow. We've got somebody at £40 for this beautiful, luxurious tablecloth that would look nice in your house. Come on now, let's go up to £45. Anybody out there would like to buy this for £45? We haven't got all night. We need to make it quick. Anybody? £45 in your home. Remember, we're bringing Faith's family to England. Oh, thank you very much. £50. Come on now, we're going up. £50 to support Faith's family. Oh, I want to see her children. She talks so much about them. I want to see them in the flesh and not just on Facebook. Come on now, £50 to support this cause. £50. Anybody out there for £50? This is the last one going now at £50. I think it's gone at 45. Can't remember now. What was the last one? £45. £45. This goes to the Howe family, and that's me standing right here. Thank you very much. That's going to look lovely in my house. I just returned from Africa, so it's going to be nice to have a piece of Africa in my home. Thank you very much. That's been sold to me. Here you are. Okay, ladies. How many of you like to go for a spa? Spa day. Oh dear, not many ladies. Oh dear me. Not many ladies like to go for a spa day. How many ladies like to have a rest day, a me time, all for myself? Okay, ladies, I'm going to ask you to stand, ladies. Ladies, stand. We've got here number 7. Ooh, number 7. And in here, we've got some beauty bath, some hand lotion, some moisturizer, a face cloth. There's so much in this pack, ladies. I'm going to start at £30. £30. Come on, ladies. I love the Body Shop, and I spend a lot of money in the Body Shop. Come on, we must look after ourselves as ladies. And what about those men, though, who are sitting by the ladies? Husbands, partners. Come on now, you must treat your woman. Look after your woman. Come on, men. £30. It's all for a good cause. Yes, £30. Thank you very much. £35. Come on, I want to see Faith's husband in the flesh. I want to see her children in the flesh. Do you want to see them? How many of you want to see Faith's family? Oh, one person. Oh, two. There's more than 2 in here. How many of you want to see Faith's real family? Ah, okay. But did you know it costs to bring them on the aeroplane? We can't just put them on the aeroplane. It costs money. A lot of money. I like that question, how much? It's a lot of money. And £30 is not going to do it. I'm going up now to £35. Anybody out there? Men, come on, support and look after your woman. £35. £35 to see Faith's family. Come on, that's not much at all. It goes into the thousands to bring them over. Come on, women, treat yourself. Come on, we spend £35 on food. We need to spend £35 on our bodies and look after what God has given us. Come on now, beautify yourself with this pack. Anybody going to £35? Come on, I need to come down. I need to sit down. My arm's aching. £35. Come on, ladies. Anybody else out there? £35. Men, you got wives at home that I've not met yet. Come on, treat that woman, treat that wife, and say, darling, I love you. And you know what? She would feel out of this world. She would feel special. Come on, men, I can see the smile on your face. But you can't make your mind up whether or not you should buy this for your woman. I like the teeth. Come on, men, I like the teeth. I like the teeth. Come on now, £35 will not bring Faith's family here. But £35 will help. It will help. Anybody else? Okay, it's going once. Anybody? Oh, did I hear somebody shouting there? Am I hearing things?
Me?
Going twice?
Me?
And for the last time, going at £30 to the moderator and the leader. Well done, Faith.
Is it alright if I buy it for 15? Is it alright if I buy it for 15?
50? Yeah. Oh, there you are. Put your hands together for the woman of God here. She's buying it for 50 to support the cause. Bless you.
Thank you. Have a very relaxing day tomorrow. Right, what we're going to do now, we're going to call on Faith to come and speak to us about Faji fashions. And after that, we've got a wonderful fashion show by some lovely ladies who are going to show you some of the fashions that Faith, the genius behind the fashions of Africa, is going to show you. Thank you.
Good evening again, and welcome to those who have just arrived. I'm going to introduce to you Faji fashion. It's a new concept that I've just come up with, and it has been funded by the RAIN Foundation. So I am a RAIN fellow developing an African integrated fashion industry that is going to be championing African fashions within the UK with the possibility to spread and to work with Africa. When we talk of poverty, it's usually linked with Africa. Africa is usually connected with poverty. But I think it's not about resources, it's about being resourceful. So we are going to be creating things and making things happen. This is what we are going to be doing within the fashion industry. So African women within the African countries will also be educated through Faji fashions in terms of developing the national standard of fashions. Then they'll be connected and linked. Then we are going to create what we call fair trade. So Faji fashion is a new concept that is going to be looking at international standards of exchanging things. So I'll be traveling to Namibia to build a link with Namibia so that we get to build that link with the Namibian communities. So I've been to Gambia where I went to train and work with women, and within that we are going to be launching Faji Fashion 2013 in February. So watch our steps. We are going to be showcasing a small fashion show that we have sort of prepared. So come on, girls, let's join together.
bought tickets, they should get them. Good. I have all the tickets in this case, and I just want to pick one person from the audience to come and pick a ticket. Well done, a good boy, keep it up. Now, I want you to pick one ticket from this, only one. Can you put that thing down, please? To see that there are no favors going on except me favoring this young gentleman to come and pick the ticket. Right, just pick only one. Only one. No, one. Only one. Right. Is that one? Right. Give it to Aunt Faith. This one. It's a yellow ticket. It's a yellow ticket. So if you have got a yellow ticket, just look at your number before it's announced. If you have got a yellow ticket, get prepared. You might be our tonight's winner.
And the first winner is number 6.
Let's see, can you confirm if that's the correct one?
That is the correct ticket.
Oh,
There we are.
great. Congratulations, my brother. Thank you very much for supporting. Second ticket. No, I'm done with you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much.
Can I have that little sister of mine? That little. We are dealing with the little ones in the house.
Oh, that's nice.
No. Right. You did your part. I've seen you auctioning things here with Andy, so you did your part. I didn't see her, so she's coming to help me. I'm only involving those who are not involved in the first events. Thank you very much. Megan, thank you very much, Megan. I want you to pick only one ticket from this. Just pick one. Just dip in your hand and pick one. Only one. Wow, this is good. It's a pink ticket. So those with the pink tickets, can you have a look at your tickets? So pass it to Andy Faye. Give the ticket.
Oh, thank you, Megan. Right, and the winner of the second prize is 112.
The pink one.
The pink one.
Yeah. Wow.
So your daughter's won a prize. I would just like to say this is totally legitimate. Even though it's your daughter. Okay. Do you want to go get your prize?
Thank you everyone for supporting our raffle ticket tonight. Thank you very much for all your donations. And I also want to thank those who have been donating on the things that are actually lined up outside on the table. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. God bless you.
We're slowly coming to the end of things. And I'd like to call upon Diane to give us our closing speech.
I met Faith coming up to 5 years ago. And that time, it was not the best time of Faith's life, but she was still determined to make good for not just herself, but for everyone around her. Faith is a very determined person, as you've heard before. And Faith will always ensure that she gets what she sets out to do. What she means to do. And it's usually that Faith means well for not herself. She's not selfish. She always looks out for other people around her. To the point sometimes that she can be so forceful that others misunderstand what the goal is about. But when Faith sets her heart to achieve something, nothing gets in the way, or whatever's in the way will be squeezed out or pushed out of the way, because Faith is a very determined woman. I feel very blessed to have met Faith, because not many people have met Faith's family, but I have. Because I was once going home to Barbados on a holiday, and Faith said, "No, why don't you go to Zimbabwe instead? Then you can go and find my family and you can bring me some pictures back and you can tell me how they are. And at first I thought, I had no intentions of going to Zimbabwe, but then I thought about it, prayed about it, and then I thought, yes, I'll go. So I went off to Zimbabwe and stayed with Faith's family. And so I feel very privileged. I've met Faith's granddaughter, she hasn't, and I've met Faith's son, who is now 11, nearly 12, I think. And the children are asking, that he's saying, where is my mom? When is she coming? I would love to see her. And there's a number of other things that I think I don't necessarily need to say. But what I'd say is that the women in Faith's village also think the world of her in Wangi. She has also, while she's been there, a woman who has always been interested in making life better for others, setting up little businesses, little enterprises, making curtains for hotels, and bedding in Victoria Falls. So she has a lot of skills, a lot to offer. And it's a privilege to me. Now her family is my family and my family is Faith's family. So I feel very privileged to have met Faith. And I know that all of us that are around Faith feel more or less exactly the same way that I do. So last but not least, I'd like us to thank Faith. I think this is very enterprising because it's not just about Faith, as she said. It's about Faith ensuring that a number of other women and men get the opportunity to be reunited with their families. I can speak firsthand because I also work with refugees and asylum seekers or people seeking sanctuary in the UK, and I know that it's not easy. So the launch of this is extremely important, and I know that everyone won't have had the opportunity to be able to contribute to this cause. But what I would say is, if you've got a friend, or you can have a party at your house one evening, some sort of a fundraising event, support this event in whatever way, the launch of it in whatever way you can possibly, whether with a fair, a craft fair, a dance evening, whatever, please support it. Before then, I'd now like to say thank you to Faith, really, for setting this up, just because it's so meaningful. I'd also like to say thank you to everyone who has contributed to making today, or this evening, go so well. Sorry we started a bit later than we should have done, but circumstances obviously didn't allow. So I'd like to thank each and every one. I'd like to thank those of us who has been outside cooking the food. The food was delicious. Let's give everybody a hand. And to the young people that's contributed to the day, in whatever way, whether it's reading, dancing, showing their clothes, and each and every speaker that's contributed to the life of Faith, the storyteller, and everyone else. I'd also like to say a special thank you to the pastors of Mount Zion Millennium, this church where we are, for allowing us to host this event here. It's a blessed place, and I think we are very blessed to be able to come here. And I would also say that it's a church that I have been to as a guest, and you would be always very welcome to attend. They do a very good service. It's a very good venue also to be used for community events. So once again, I'd like to say thank you to the person doing the video. Thank you to all of you who came. Thank you to Reverend Valerie for doing all the raffle. Pastor Gary for spending his money. And all those others who contributed. So once again, to Gil, to Salbert, where he's somewhere outside, I think, and others who contributed to being on the door. I think give yourselves a big round of applause for being here at the first event of this day. Thank you.
sorry I couldn't be here for most of it. I've been here from about 9 o'clock this morning and I had to go out again. But one thing Mount Zion is trying to do is trying to be community friendly. And so we're giving God thanks that you enjoy yourself here, and I would say that you accomplish that which you desire to accomplish. And she's a person really that you can't say no to. She smile, mannerism, how she approaches things, always make you have an open heart to her. Not knowing her long, but seem like I've known her for quite a while just because of her spirit. So I'm giving God thanks that you all enjoyed yourself tonight. May God bless you. In Jesus' name. You want me to close in prayer? Amen. Can we all stand at this time here? Most righteous and eternal Father, we give you thanks, O Lord, that you have allowed this event to take place here. And everything, Lord, that it sets out to achieve, I know, Lord, that you're more than able. And so where there is a will, God, you will always make a way. And so we thank you for this event, and we thank you for all those that attend. And now we should dismiss, we actually dismiss us for your choicest blessing, one from another. Go with us to our several, Lord. Be with us on the highways, O Lord, and protect us as we even go home now, as we say thanks. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Oh no, we are so tired. Money for the Lord, in the name of Jesus, we are conquerors. Oh no, we are so tired. Money for the Lord, in the name of Jesus, we are conquerors. Oh no, we are so tired. Money for the Lord, in the name of Jesus, we are so Oh, no.